Hi everyone, my name is Daan and welcome to my devlog. I'm gonna show you the things I worked on in the second sprint of developing the game COM4. The two main things I worked on in this second sprint are the spring level design and the winter inventory and item interaction system. Let's get started. Let me first start off by showing you what I worked on with the spring level design. With the first iteration of my spring level design, it had to be something that you would expect of the spring season. The first things that went through my head was the growth of plants and playing with a water gun as a kid. So I started off by making a mechanic that will fit this description. With my team, I came up with a unique mechanic that could be used to get yourself through two different puzzles, like in the other levels. The mechanic we came up with was the water gun. The water gun had to be used in two different ways. So there would be something that would distinguish the one puzzle from the other. So what I thought of was giving the gun three different functionalities. The single spray, the double spray and the nebulizer spray. I was quite happy with the results of the mechanic design and I think it will fit the description for spring pretty well. I moved on to the level design. I used Minecraft to give a visual representation of what I had in mind with these mechanics and spring ambience. This was the first result. To my team to give me feedback for the level design. They told me the level didn't really feel like a whole and told me that they expected some more coherence between the two different puzzles of the level. So I went back to work and tried to make something that would fit the description. The fun part was, in the game you're playing in some sort of dreamlike state, which makes it pretty easy to design something that actually makes sense. So I took the liberty of just meshing the two existing parts together, which gave me this result. I'm actually really happy with the results. I think it's a way more of a coherence, like my team said I needed to make it. And my team is really happy with it as well. Before I move on to the other part of the devlog, let me first explain the difference between the two puzzles a little bit better. Just to make sure you know what to expect from the one and the other puzzle. To do the puzzle with the targets, you have to shoot the targets to make specific platforms flip up to be able to get to the end. To do the puzzle with the tree, you have to grow out specific parts on the tree to be able to walk on those parts to get to the end. Moving on to winter's inventory and item pickup system that I made. The reason why we added an inventory system is because we needed a different mechanic in winter. Well, let's dive a bit deeper into the code to see how I made the inventory and pickup system possible. First, to be able to pick up anything, you need to create an item itself. So I created an item class which has a couple of things inside it. It takes an item type from the enum I created and an amount, which corresponds with the quantity of an item you have. With this item type you also get a specific sprite here, that goes into the UI or item world. It will also make sure if this item is stackable or not over here. So how do I make it possible to get an item inside the world? Well, I made an item class that makes this possible. This static makes it possible to spawn an item in the world from any class. It will create a clone of the transform values at runtime and put the transform values inside the transform, which will be used for this item in the world. Furthermore, we will set the item locally in this script and give the right sprite. And now the other question. How do I make it possible to get an item from the world inside my inventory? First, we need to check if there is an object which is a trigger. If this is the case, we will get the component of this object. If we were able to get an item world, we were able to pick up this item with the E key. This will be added to the inventory here, and the item in the world will be destroyed. I also made double pressing impossible, because you could just hold E to pick up everything in range, which was not the way I intended it to work. This is the way how I manage the inventory. I have a list that holds items, the item list. The way I add items to my list is different for stackable and non-stackable items. If there is an item that's the same kind of item and is stackable, it will just count up the amount of that item, instead of adding a whole new item. However, if the item is non-stackable, it will just add the item to the list. And it works the same if you want to remove the item. It checks if it's stackable or not, and will apply the same logic as explained earlier. But now it will remove the item amount or remove it from the list. This was in short what I worked on in the previous sprint. I hope you enjoyed the devlog, and I will see you next time.